Bang boom boom. What's going on, guys? Chris here, and today we're doing my first ever review on this channel. I'm really excited. So today we're going to be reviewing the new Stay Low EP, 4 Act 1 EP or 4 Act IEP. I don't know how to pronounce it. Most likely he will correct me after reacting to this. But yeah, this is the new EP from Chicago-based rapper, songwriter, producer, co-founder of Gnarly Voice, and the drummer. Yeah, not a lot of people know about that one. Um, and there, but by the way, there's no drums. There's no drums played on the EP. Unfortunately, I'm very disappointed too. Um, he didn't pull out the drum set for this EP, unfortunately. But let's talk about this EP and some of the other stuff he dropped too, because he actually dropped two singles before this EP, and I kind of gonna give him a mini review too. So let's talk about the first one, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. to me is the most iconic one. It is kind of Juice World worship, and he did say that when he did like play this live, he did get a lot of like, oh, this sounds like Juice World, but people were vibing with it though. Yeah, it is somewhat Juice WRLD, but I also love the production of the guitars and the bass and like kind of the instrumental. The vocal production is very rough though, I will admit. While it is a great single, and it's definitely one of the better singles I've heard this year. It still like it wasn't perfect. And then also the Naughty Head is straight up Denzel Curry worship, but not in a bad way. I actually messed with this single too. Because these are both two really solid singles to start off the year, right? One of them being one of my most listened to singles of the year. And then also with a lot of hype around new projects coming out, like a new album sometime this year, and then like singles. There's a lot of going on with him, especially compared to most members of Gnarly Boys. Tends to be one the most creative and two the most hungry. But let's talk about this new little EP that dropped. It's 4 tracks. All of them run really short, so this isn't really like draining. Like you literally could take like 10 minutes out of your day and listen to this whole thing. But yeah, so what I noticed with this EP is there's a lot more of a personal theme. I feel like this EP is kind of like the separation of the person that STAYLOW used to be in the past and the person he is today. And as much as I'm pretty sure this EP it wasn't recorded recently, it still kind of perfectly transcends that. As like there's a lot of personal like themes here, like on the opening track, No Home for Me, where he talks about his anxiety and stuff like that. He has taken lots of medications for it, or the way he grew up, and people around him who have passed away, which is also something he talks about on other tracks too, like on the closing track, and also um, there's the song Lost for the Sauce, where these are like themes that you'll hear across like a lot of his music, but like especially on this first track here, I feel like kind of gets you in it already. There's one line here I kind of remembered. It wasn't because like I cared for it, because it was a sipping henny because that's how I was raised. That bar to me kind of like threw off the flow, but like overall, there was a lot of great stuff said. There was a lot of great, emotion put into this track. The themes, he talks about how he's a tired mess most of the time, which is also a theme that is repeated on this album. On the last track, which those two, the opening and the closing track, are my two favorite songs on here. With the closing track, it's a little bit more personal because he talks about Ver, who is a member of Gnarly Voice who passed away a while back, um, who was a big influence for Stay Low because he was the one who told Stay Low, like, hey, you gotta upload this music because no one's gonna hear it, and you did all this for nothing. And also on track 4, he talks about how he's restless, how he doesn't know, and how sometimes he doesn't know what to do. He feels like he gets no rest, and when he and he's trying to change. There's also themes of people passing away, and he says, when my time is here, I am ready for it. I am ready to move on because I've seen death happen all around me. It is something I am more used to now. And that is a pretty compelling theme, even if it's not executed the way I think it should have been. I think that's a pretty great message. I just wish the execution would have been a little bit more better. But again, Stalo is a young dude. He is not. he's not 40 rapping about this. He's only like 21 while this thing is dropped. And he probably was younger while this was recorded. Um, Another theme I see a lot, and this is mainly in the third track and the fourth track, the closing track, um, was mainly in the Lost for the Sauce, which is my least favorite song here, mainly because the production is a little too hazy for me. And what I do like though is that he talks about how he's from Chicago and he raps about the same things as other Chicago rappers, but should be taken as seriously, even if he's not rapping in the same drill style, which I think is something that is absolutely valid. Like he may not be rapping like a Chief Keef or a Little Dirk, but I think as a Chicago rapper, he has been through a lot of things similar. Like he talks about it on the same track where he talks about how he used to live homeless, how he used to sell crack. There are lyrics referencing crack on this album. There's literally he literally describes making it on this album. Some Pusha T shit, but just more melodic, more melodic, more trap based Pusha T shit. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of standouts here too. And then also didn't give enough. I didn't talk enough about the second track, not you, bitch, me, which it's more like him talking about his soul equals his home, and also yeah, he also talks about how he speaks for the same things other Chicago rappers do. But then he also talks about how he's like a little bit more cocky on this one. He's a little bit more cocky. He's got his confidence up. Um, and then he also talks about like don't let the music disguide you. Don't let it disguide you. That he's still a product of his environment, which is Chicago, which is growing up with all these gangs and all these dangerous things around him. Because he does mention his homelessness and his involvement in selling, making, and like doing drugs in the past. Maybe not doing them that much, but mainly selling and creating drugs too. He does talk about that. And yeah, there's a lot going on in this EP, even if I don't think every theme is as developed as it should be. Um, I do think that pretty solidly he does try to cover as much and talk about as much of his life as he can. And overall, I do love how he does that, but there are a couple issues I have. One is some of the songs, especially like the two middle songs, sound a little hazy for my taste. Like they're not produced as well as I would want them to be. So that's a main problem. Also, I think the themes could have been a little bit more fleshed out, but overall, I think it's solid. I think it's all right. I think that like he does have improvement to go to, and I don't know if this was the most recent thing he recorded. From what I heard, I think 2 a.m. was the most recent thing he recorded. Which, if that's true, then I'm pretty sure that's positive trajectory right there. I do think that the two singles he dropped before this were way more interesting. But yeah, overall on this EP, I am feeling a light to decent six on it. It does have its moments. It does have its moments. It does have its themes. I just think as like a full project, it could be a little bit more fleshed out. The topics could be a little bit more fleshed out, and then the production can definitely be improved upon. But yeah, overall, I think Stay Low is easily the most creative rapper in the Gnarly Boys, and I hope that he ends up reaching his goals of trying to be more inventive with everything that he's doing. Reminder, he's young as fuck making this. He's still in his early 20s, so he has a long way to go. And yeah, that's my review. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next review or video.